Howdy folks, Mr. Carter here, ready to do HomeLink 8.5. Go ahead and put your name on this if you haven't yet, and let's begin. So we are designing a bookcase, and we're going to be using a line plot to help us with that. So Nicholas is building a bookcase to help him with the design. He measured the height of each of his books to the nearest 1/8 of an inch, and his measurements are given below. So plot the data set on the line plot below. So we have our title here, it's book heights, and our label here is the height in inches. And I went ahead and since all the measurements are to the nearest 1/8 of an inch, I went ahead and added those into our line plot here, just to kind of make it easier to see. So, and I converted them all into eighths because that's what he did here, to the nearest eighth. Now, there is a point when I did halves and fourths, because if you notice up here, our measurements are halves. Some of them are halves, some of them are fourths. And we know that a half is the same as saying 4/8. So I started here with 4/8. Then I went to, 6 and 4/8. Then I went 5/8, 6/8, 7/8, and then our whole here is 8/8, which would make it 7. Then again I went 1/8, 2/8. Now 2/8 is the same as saying 1/4. So I put 1/4 down here, so to help us kind of know if we have one that's 7 and 1/4, that we would put an X here. So then after 2/8 would be 3/8, and 4/8 again is that half, so we have 7 and a half. So I did that all the way down, 5/8, 6/8, 7/8, all the way through, just to kind of help me with this line plot. So now what you do is you go ahead and just go one measurement at a time and then put an X in for each measurement. So it's 6.5, so I'm going to put 6.5. Put it here, put an X here, I'll cross it out immediately so I don't do it again. 9 and 1/4, so I go look for 9, 1/4. Well, that's the same as 2/8, so I'm going to put my X here at 9 and 2/8, or 9 and 1/4. Immediately cross it out. 7 and 1/8, I'll go look for 7 and 1/8, put my X here. Immediately cross it out. Okay, so to save us some time, I just kind of fast forwarded here how I did the line plot, and this is what it should end up looking like. So you should have 1 at 6 and 4/8, 6 and 7/8 has 5, 7 and 1/8 has 2, 7.5 has 2, 8 has 3, 8 and 1/4 or 8 and 2/8 should have 6, 8 and 3/8 has 1, 9 has 1. 9 and 1/4 or 9 and 2/8 should have 7, and last but not least 9 and 3/8 should have 1. So that's what it looks like. So now what we're going to do is answer our questions to go along with this line plot. So what is the difference in height between the tallest and shortest books? So our tallest book is 9 and 3/8, and our shortest book is 9 and 4/8, or 9 and 6.5 or 6 and 4/8. Okay, so what we need to do, I want to head on this page here, kind of stacked up. So 9 and 3/8 is our largest, or our tallest book, and we need to subtract our shortest book, which is 6.5. So now we notice that we don't have the same denominator here. So I had to convert that 6.5 to 6 and 4/8, and now that'll make it easier for us to subtract. So we have 3/8. We start with our fractions. 3/8 take away 4/8. We can't do that. So we've got to trade one whole. So it's going to be now 8 wholes. And we know that one whole, when we're working with eighths, is 8/8. So we're going to take that 8/8, which is our whole, and add it to our 3/8 that we already have. So 8, 9, 10, 11. So that gives us 11/8. So we have 11/8, take away 4/8, which we can do, and that is 7/8. And now we have 8, take away 6, and that will give us 2. So that's 2 and 7/8 is the difference in height between the tallest and shortest books. So again, that's 2 and 7/8. All right, so now Nicholas wants the space between the shelves to be 7/8 inch taller than his tallest book. So how far apart should he make the shelves? So our tallest book is again that 9 3/8, which we found from our line plot. If you look here, our tallest book is 9 3/8. So he wants to make the shelf have a gap of 7/8 inches from the tallest book. So we need to add 9 3/8 plus 7/8. So we're going to add our fractions. So that will be 9, and 3/8 plus 7/8 would be 10/8. Well, again, that's a top-heavy or an improper fraction, so we're going to break that down into 8/8 and 2/8. So decompose that into 8/8 and 2/8. We have a whole here and 2/8. So we're going to add this one whole, 8 over 8 to the 9. So that will give us 10 and 2/8. That's how far apart we should make the shelves, 10 and 2/8. Okay. Now, if the thickness of the wood he uses for the shelves is 5/8 of an inch, what will be the total height of each shelf? Here's a hint. The total height of is the thickness of one piece of wood plus the distance between the shelves. So the piece of wood is 5/8 of an inch, and the thickness of the shelves is 10 and 2/8 because we did that in the last problem here. So we've got to take 10 and 2/8 because, again, that was how high he wanted to make the shelf. He wanted to make it 7/8 of an inch taller than his tallest book, so we figured that out. So now we've got to add these two together. So we have that'll equal 10, and 5/8 plus 2/8 is 7/8. This is a regular fraction, so we don't need to do anything to that. So it's 10 and 7/8. Okay, our practice is a division problem. So I'll do 3, and I'll have you do 4 in your own. So number 3 is 8,207 divided by 7. So I'm going to start with 1,000, because I know that 7 times 1,000 will get us a good chunk off of that 8,207. So 7 take away 0 is 7, 0 take away 0 is 0, 2 take away 0 is 2, 8 take away 7 is 1, so we're left with 1,207. I'm going to go with 100. 100 times 7 is 700. And we just want to get down to that 0. 7 take away 0 is 7. 0 take away 0 is 0. 2 take away 7, we cannot do that. We need a trade, so that's going to make it 12. 12 take away 7 is 5. So now we can do, I don't know, let's try 50. 50 is fun, because it's a 5. 5 times 7 is 35. It's an extended fact, so it makes it 350. 7 take away 0 is 7. Trade, so that's 4. So 10. 10 take away 5 is 5. 4 take away 3 is 157. So I can go with 20, because I know that 2 times 7 is 14, but it's an extended fact, so that makes it 140. 7 take away 0 is 7, and 5 take away 4 is 1. That's 17, and I know I can do that 7 times 7, or 7 times 2 is 14. And that will leave me with 3. I can no longer divide, so I will need to have that as a remainder. So now we're going to add these up. So 1,000 plus 100 is 1,100. 50 and 20 is 70, plus 2 is 2, so it's 1,172. So 1,172 with a remainder of 3. Can't forget that remainder. All right, so that again was 1,172 with a remainder of 3. All right, that's it for now. If you have questions, please come and see me. Have a good night.